Welcome back to Rising Voices. My name is Andres Rodriguez, and I will be your host here for today here on Rising Voices, a podcast dedicated to the youth, to our rising voices here in the communities of Long Island. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming in the new year with my friend Jax. Hi, Jax. How are you?
Doing great, honestly. It's good to be here.
I know, and I mean, having you as a guest is really empowering. And the reason why I say that is because we don't have that much youth that is really dedicated to their communities here in Long Island. But as the years continue going by, I still see that it's rising. And that's why I really said Rising Voices is the name, because it really just continues rising. The amount of community leaders, especially at our young age, that are now giving back and are giving a positive message to give back to the communities of Long Island. So welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you. So who is Jax? Describe yourself in 3 words. I mean, this is a question I start off, and the reason why I start off with it is so the audience can know, who is Jax? I mean...
Oh, there's a lot of things that I could say about myself, but you said 3 words, so I'll stick to that. I'm an intelligent individual working.
Okay. And I like the working part. And the reason why I say working is not because I don't think working should be your life, but I think the reason why I think working is a powerful word, especially for yourself, is because you've been a hard worker with a hard-working volunteer. And I'll say that because you have volunteered your time in many different occasions throughout the U.S. and throughout the world. And I say that because I've seen it. I've seen it on your social media platforms. I've seen it the way you portray yourself in school. I see yourself... the knocking doors, the canvassing, the giving back to the communities, and to getting out the word. That is really empowering because people at our age really do not do that. And it's really inspiring to see that young people, especially at our age, are doing something for change.
Yeah.
And that's because, we always need change in our world. I think
Definitely, yeah.
No matter what, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the way we feel, I think we're all ready for some change sometimes. I think the hardworking part and the working part of the word you said is really inspiring because it really shows in who you are.
Thank you.
All right. So what inspired you to get involved in making a difference? And I know you can go hours on saying what inspired you.
Oh, yes, I can.
But what inspired you to give back to your community, to uplift others?
Honestly, I think nothing has inspired me more than, if I'm being honest with myself, nothing has inspired me more than the 2016 election. Okay. The 2016 election, we've obviously saw who won. We obviously saw the aftermath of it, and nothing had inspired me more to understand all these issues that are going on other than, had this election not happened, had we not actually focused on the ideas that we're going through, even with immigration and with all these other issues, even past that.
Yeah.
But I believe that my biggest inspiration is just to give back, really, to help people. That was, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a police officer. I wanted to help a community. But obviously now that really isn't a full aspect. Yeah. So, but I'm still happy to be able to give back to people and to actually work with many other intelligent people even around this country. Honestly.
No, and I think that's great because you've gone everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but you've gone across.
The coast.
Really the coast, yeah. I mean, I saw you a couple of months ago. You were in Las Vegas.
Yes.
I was in Las Vegas in August. That was an amazing experience. And I say it not because of the food, the architecture, the Grand Canyon, the things that people really go to Las Vegas for. I say it because of the people. I mean, I really met some people in Las Vegas that... interesting. They were interesting people. But... I really think when you went to Las Vegas, you did it for a great cause. I mean, you went canvassing. And for people, especially at our young age, that don't know what canvassing is, it's really going out and knocking on doors to promote a candidate or person per se that you want either to elect or you want to give or take maybe have in office, maybe have in local government. But really it is, canvassing is to speak to a person or people, to really get out the message, no matter what it is, no matter if it's a candidate or no matter if it's on a bill or something you really care about. Canvassing is the thing to do. And I feel like I canvass, but not when it comes to political affiliation or a bill. I canvass in the way that I love talking. And I concede myself as a person that loves public speaking. And it's because I love speaking to the youth. I love speaking to the people around me and really the people who are uplifting me. So, Jax, and I'm going to ask this to you. Who has been your biggest role model in promoting positive change?
Honestly, there have been like so many people. I could name like hundreds of people for this, but I think that like my biggest inspiration has been my cousin. Her name is Marcy Suarez. She actually she's the youth organizer here on Long Island at Make The Road N.Y. And honestly, she's been my biggest inspiration since I was a kid. Like she literally has been with me since like I was born. And like she's always inspired me to like take all these like leadership roles. She's even told me like even during COVID, she was like, hey, like we're holding this meeting in some time, and if you want to join, to learn about this stuff. And I was like, okay. But when I was a kid, like I was like, I don't really know if I want to like hop onto Zoom and just be there, like at that time during like, COVID-19, I was just purely antisocial. But she's been like my biggest role model to like this actual work. She has shown me everything that I've been needing to know and has taught me like the ways to really like properly do this, and I'm really truly grateful for her for this.
That's great. And I when I always ask this question, what I feel inspiring is that it comes from family. It starts from the household. It starts from the people that you might see on a weekly or a daily basis, especially a cousin. I can say that for myself too, because my cousins for me are my siblings, even though I have a sibling that's coming on its way, and I'm amazingly thankful for that. My cousins have been my first siblings for the past 17 years. And when I say family is important, no matter if it's a mom, a dad, a parental figure, a cousin, a neighbor, that's really what family is about. It's about uniting, and it's about showing your family members to give back, to show some positive change.
Absolutely.
And you spoke about Make the Road N.Y, and we're going to be speaking about that in a bit. But right now we're going to take a little short break here on Rising Voices. Don't miss it. We have more with Jax only on Rising Voices here on YouTube. Hey everyone, this is Andres Rodriguez from the Rising Voices podcast here on ConexcionLatina. This episode and podcast is thanks to Liga La Justicia Abogados. Do you need a free consultation? They speak Spanish and they have over 30 years of experience. Call them at 1-800-355-1234. This is 1-800-355-1234. That's Liga La Justicia Abogados. Welcome back to Rising Voices here on YouTube. Really, I'm grateful to be here today, and it's because number one, we're in a new year. It's amazing to be here.
2025.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, and I think that's a weird year for me because I'm graduating. We both are graduating. That is, and that's insane because who would have known after 12 years? Wow. 12 years. 12 long years. Yeah. But it's been a year. 2024 was a year. And I really want to speak on your 2024 year on Make the Road N.Y. What is Make the Road N.Y? How has it inspired you? Do you have family members involved? I know you told me your cousin is involved, and I want to know more about what she does and what you do in Make the Road N.Y. If you don't know what Make the Road is, you will find out right now from our friend Jack. So what is Make the Road N.Y?
So Make the Road N.Y. is actually a grassroots immigration-led organization. It was started back in the 90s, actually. It was first called Make the Road by Walking. And it was mostly to advocate on all these like issues going on with immigration and the school systems as well. Then it actually became around, I believe, 2007, we actually developed into Make The Road N.Y. The only way that I actually heard about it was because literally of my cousin, Marcy. And she actually, her story of how she actually came into it is actually kind of funny to me. Her mom, so this was, early 2010s, all of our immigrant parents, they're all like, oh, I don't speak English, so can you come with me and do this? So her mom had told her that she wanted to go to this organization that a friend of her mom's had told her about, and she wanted her to come because she didn't know if they spoke Spanish. Well, they spoke Spanish, luckily for her, so it was a given. And then she was actually approached by, I don't remember who it was, but she was approached by somebody and asked, hey, would you like a job? And she was like, oh, yeah, well, but I have school. And so went from, just coming in to just translate to actually getting the opportunity to work with them. She actually started off the same way I did. She actually went to the Youth Power Project. She started off there. She did the summer youth program, I believe it's called. I don't know if it was called that back then, but she did that program for the whole summer, and she stayed there for, honestly, she's been there for 10 years, been working there as a youth leader. And I honestly, that was one of the best things that could ever happen to me or her. She's just been doing all this work with so many people, met so many people all over the place. She actually went to New Orleans recently, I think back in November for, excuse me. She went there for the DACA case. I was actually being heard there, and she was there for, honestly, a good 2 days. It was something that I found she was a DACA recipient. She actually now has temporary status, but it was something that I actually thought, wow, that's honestly something really interesting to talk about. It's a big issue as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I say this because this motivation of Make the Road N.Y. has impacted many lives, and lives across Long Island, but across the state. I say this because my own uncle receives services from Make the Road N.Y., and it really is a great place.
Yeah.
You go in there, you see the walls, it's all community.
Yeah.
And that's great because, when I walked in, I think it was a couple of months ago, about last year, when I walked in, it reminded me about the Applebee's. And I don't know why it reminded me about the Applebee's, but when I go to Applebee's, especially if you go to the Applebee's in Brentwood, you really see the walls are really community organizations, parades. Like the landmark in Brentwood is the Puerto Rican Day Parade, the St. Patrick's Day Parade, our Brentwood Green Machine. There's just all these things about our community that have been shown in the Applebee's. So going to Make the Road N.Y., you don't see things about Brentwood and the Applebee's. You see things all over the state. And that's really a empowering thing because of the amazing people that give back to the community, especially in Make the Road N.Y. Now, I want to speak about something, and Make the Road embodies this word. It embodies the word leadership. Leadership has a lot of factors, whether you take a leader role in a school club as a president, vice president, treasurer, whether you're a leader in your group as an organizer or as a CEO of an organization, or leader as you're giving back to your community in a way that you're showing a spot of giving. You're showing a spot of advocacy, and you're showing a movement of gratitude. And I say this because leadership has a lot of factors. It has a lot of factors in the sense where it's the same word, it just has different meanings in the way you want to put it. So how can you define the word leadership to you?
So the obvious definition is someone who leads a group. But for me, leadership is more... it's very, intent and personal. It's more a person who can not only just lead a group, but a person who can also, not just a person, honestly, like even like a group of people can be leaders. They can show leadership. You just have to, all you have to do is just, show that you are committed to something, and you can prove, listen, you are leading this movement. You are the part of this movement. You're not just a part of it, you are leading it. And that's what I feel like it is for me.
And when you said that about leadership, you guys probably don't know this, but I hear this now. I live in a household of, my parents are Colombian, but there's this guy who is like, that lives downstairs, and he is really, to me, he is family. He's someone that's empowered my life. He's someone that has given back to me. He has shown me the rights, the wrongs. He has shown me love. He has shown me hate when we fight. But he's really have been there for me in many different occasions. But when he would always talk to me about the song from Carole King, it's called "Where You Lead, I Will Follow." And that song right there is empowering, because that's what the word leadership means. Yeah. It's how, where you lead, that person will follow and give back and show that you will recruit people in your movement, in your leadership. So right when we're talking about leadership, I always think about that song, because it is empowering and it shows that where you lead, I will follow. Mm-hmm. Right. All right. Now that song is stuck in my head. All right, let's go. So, Jax, what's new? What projects are coming up with you? How can we get involved in Make the Road New York? How can people know about the services?
Well, if you actually go on the web and look up Make the Road New York, you will find all of our resources there. But new projects, we're actually currently still discussing them. Well, at the time of recording this, we're still discussing what new projects we're going to actually work on. I think by the time that this episode airs, we should basically be discussing what is next. Are we going to go to Albany and discuss this? Who are we going to pick to sponsor the bill? That's the next step at that point. But right now, the bills that we've worked on, well, the last year, in 2024, we've just worked on, mostly on the elections, obviously. We had some time earlier in the year where we worked on, I believe, a couple of housing bills. I think one of them was actually called TOPA, where we helped another organization where we talked to a congressional leader. I don't remember his name, but I do remember the bill was called TOPA. So we actually went out there. We've worked with many congressional leaders just to get this housing bill passed. Before I actually joined Make the Road, I heard that they were working on solutions, not suspensions. It was more a school-based project. But right now, we're just trying to discuss, what do we do? Like, what bill should we work on? Yeah. And what new ideas should we put on the table, instead of we need like our own project. We can still work on these, yeah, obviously, but we definitely want something that, we are obviously committed on.
Yeah. No, and I like the idea of, you're not stopping yourself from saying we don't have a project. You're saying we will have a project. We're just figuring it out. And that's good, because it shows the open mindset you have in this organization, in your leadership, and this advocacy role you have. It really is empowering, because I think as a leader, you are trying to promote that positive change. You are trying to recruit people and say, you know what, if you want to become a leader, if you want to make change in your district or even in the state, you can do it.
Absolutely.
And, something I like about going up to Albany in 2024, we went with our next guest, Alejandro. We went in January to the opening session of the day in Albany. And I mean, that was amazing. It was amazing because, number one, we saw the House floor on the bills they passed. We saw this opening day of excitement of the people in politics that really want to give back to their community.
Right.
And number three, we were I don't know how to say this. We were we were invited. We were shown on television on C-SPAN for what we were there for. And that was really honoring because I think when you speak about students coming up to Albany, that's a one-in-a-life experience. Really, if you have that opportunity to go up there and see the monumental stuff that is in Albany. But really, it's the people. I mean, I consider myself of working together with people, right? Yeah. Not causing division.
Absolutely.
And I think when it comes to bills, I think we have to find a way to agree to disagree, right? To work with that other person, but at the same time, find a way that we can probably like work something out and see what we can do to get
a middle ground,
right? To get their side, but to get our side across as well. And I think that's it's sad because at this moment we don't have that. There's a lot of division in our world, and that's across the board, no matter where you go, throughout the U.S., throughout countries around the world. You really see the division. So, and it's empowering that us young people really want to unite. And I want to talk about this because in the month of November, I attended a training for PRILIGHT. PRILIGHT is the Puerto Rican Hispanic Youth Long Island Institute program. It is a program that was created by Angelo Del Toro. He was an assemblyman a long time ago. God rest his soul. He passed away not a few years ago, a long time ago too. But he was a leader for us youth, and he created the Puerto Rican Hispanic Youth Long Island Institute. But he was an advocate for us youth, and really there is a program dedicated to him on his behalf for students who want to get involved in public service, who want to give back in any way possible. If you remember, a lot of people ask me, do you want to get in politics? And my answer always is no. And I say my answer is always no is because although going to Albany is nice and it's freezing cold, I want to be in the community. I want to be not behind a desk passing bills. I want to be inside the community, and that's where I think my passion for social work is. And that is to help the younger generations, help students in the classroom, help people in outside organizations. How can we promote better services for our youth, whether it's mental health, whether it's any type of social ability, really just promoting that positive change throughout the world. That is what my goal is. And I think when we talk about positive change, it doesn't end here. We're going to continue growing, whether it's with our own organizations, whether it's the organizations we are a part of. This is the base ground. This is where it starts. This is just the concrete level to what you're going to build. We're going to go to the last question. And this is something that I always want to end on every day. And it's because I meet a lot of people every single day, whether it's in the hallways when I say hi to everyone or good morning, or it's either speaking to the teachers, speaking to the staff, or even speaking to someone outside of school in the street and saying good morning, good night, good evening, or just even having a random conversation with someone just to brighten up their day. What advice would you give to younger people who want to get involved in their communities?
Well, I could say many things here, but I'll stick with the easiest thing. The way to get involved is by, finding a way to get involved. Best way, you can always get involved with your school. You can always find people who will help you get involved with other places. And I'm certain that you can definitely start with some kind of school club. So to all the young people who are listening, I will tell you right now that the best way for you to actually begin your commitment toward public service, to actually help your communities, you can start always where you educate yourself in schools. You can always start there. You will always find a place where you feel comfortable. Even myself, I don't always practice politics. I'm very interested in music performance. I'm actually a performer. I'm part of the concert chorus in Brentwood High School. I've been to All-State actually back in December, the All-State conference. So you always start where your education begins, and you always begin at school. And I feel that right there, that is a place where you can gladly begin to help out your community.
Yeah, and school is the ground level, right? That's where everything starts. After that, it's the next floor and so on. I remember I started in the 4th grade with the Boy Scouts, and God, no, I don't like the Boy Scouts now. But that was an experience, and it was an experience that brought me a lot of joy and happiness because of the things that I built. I built cars out of metal and some wood. I painted stuff. I did the Clean the Streets project in CI. There's just so many programs I've done because of the Boy Scouts that I grew. I made my own organization to give back to youth across Long Island. I've given back with students across Long Island as well. I've gone across the country and given back my time, but that was because I started at where? School. And really, a lot of people don't like school. I sometimes don't like school. And it's the waking up every morning and thinking, oh my God, another day.
Oh, yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I go to school for 2 things. Sometimes to learn, but to educate myself in the brighter picture. And yes, we have friends. Yes, we are getting taught by teachers. But at the same time, I go to school to connect with people. And that's because even though as a senior, it's our last time before that we see people, you created that bond. You've walked the hallways with these people for the past 12 years, and this is your final time with that person or people. And when I go to school, I take courage in that. And that's because I've met so many amazing people in school, whether it's school, whether it's extracurricular activities, but it all started at the ground level, which is school. And meeting these people have made me grown into a person I could have never imagined. And that's because the people that I've met, especially in my senior and junior year, have made me grown into a person, have made me feel a sense of belonging, and at the same time, they've become family. And I think that's really the sad part about senior year, is that after seeing the friends that you've created for the past 12 years or for however long you've been in your district, it's the final time. After you take off that graduation cap and gown, it's done. You get to see those people probably once or twice, if then, but it's the final time. And that's where you, at the end, you're like, wow, school, it's done, but we met so much great people. We've gone through obstacles because of the people we met at school. We've gone through many things because we were in school, but at the same time, we've met people who have changed our lives for the better. And I'll say that to my friends, I'll say that to my family members, and to the people close to me now. It's been a year. It's been years. The pandemic. It's elections. It's been a lot of things that have shaped into the people we are today. And what I tell all my guests on the show is, don't lose that passion of giving back to your community, because as a young person, we have a lot to give. So, I mean, there's going to be days that we feel burnout. There's going to be days that we feel like we're not enough for people. But you have to learn that at the end of the day, you are who you are, and you're doing the best you can to give back to the people. So I'm going to finish off the episode with really thanking Jax, because Jax, it's great to see you on here. It's great to see someone so active, especially in Make The Road N.Y, a statewide organization. And as a youth and young person, it is amazing to see someone as active as you are. Thank you, Jax, for being on this show. You are an inspiration to many young people out here in Long Island, to myself and to many. Thank you for being on the show. I will the space is yours whenever you want to come back. And I really can't wait to hear more about the bills that are going to get passed and more of the amazing work you're going to be doing here across Long Island. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on Rising Voices. It has been a pleasure to be with you all here today. Be kind to one another. Have a great day, and Happy New Year, because it's New Year.
Happy New Year.